Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Enzo Fernandez. The big breaking news last night was that Enzo Fernandez finally and officially signed for Chelsea. It was very late transfer drama. It was the will they, won't they get him over the line, done and dusted, made, signed, sealed and made official all day between Chelsea and Enzo Fernandez. Pretty much the Ross and Rachel of will they, won't they make it happen across the entirety of deadline day. But eventually, Chelsea managed to get their man, managed to get him signed, sealed and delivered. And he is officially now a Chelsea player after an entire month of speculation and rumours and interest and all that kind of stuff that goes into a transfer saga. Plenty of twists and turns along the way, but eventually Chelsea landed their target, and it's a massive target at that, as Enzo Fernandez smashes the British transfer record fee of 106 million, previously held of course by Manchester City's Jack Grealish when he signed for City for 100 million pounds a year and a half ago. Enzo Fernandez arrives in England, the now current transfer record fee holder, and has signed a massive deal at that. And Chelsea have landed their target, and I think their fans are pretty much excited as to what the future may hold with Enzo Fernandez in their ranks. We're going to be talking all about Fernandez and all about Chelsea, but before we go any further, I would like to remind you to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. But for now, let's talk about Enzo Fernandez and about Chelsea. Fernandez, like I say, he arrives in England as the current transfer record fee holder. Just under £107 million is seemingly what people are reporting this as. Sky in particular are reporting it as £106.8 million as a fee spent. Don't know whether that's the entirety of the structure, or whether there's add-ons or whatever. There's obviously all that kind of stuff that gets kind of brushed aside a little bit in terms of reporting on these things. Yeah, it is what it is. And he also signs a very much long-term contract of 8.5 years, so he'll be 30 by the time this current contract expires. Once again, we know about Chelsea spending. We know that Todd Boehly, in the several months that he's been in charge of the Blues, has spent an enormous amount of money and has used long-term deals to kind of cover that up from FFP, it seems, as previously reported on. And this seems to be another example of that going forward. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be talks internally with the powers that be in the higher-ups of governing bodies to try and slow down this kind of spending. It doesn't seem like Chelsea are going to be slowing down anytime soon, and it seems the only way they're going to be stopped is if there's going to be things put in place to kind of slow them down a little bit. So that could be interesting, obviously, to note going forward. But it doesn't seem like Chelsea's spending spree is going to be slowing down anytime soon. Maybe in a few years it might slow down a little bit once Todd Boehly sinks his teeth right into it, as he is currently doing so right now. And obviously... But obviously it needed to happen, and this squad has been in need of a rebuild, it seems, in hindsight at least, for the best part of the time that obviously Todd Boehly took charge. And you could even argue within the final year or so of the Roman Abramovich era. Need of a rebuild, need of fixing up, need of change, and that is exactly what Todd Boehly's doing. He's come in straight away, he changed the infrastructure of the club, and now he's seemingly putting his money to work with the players and everything on the pitch. And it seems that Graham Potter is going to be in for an exciting time. It seems that Chelsea fans are going to be in for an exciting and interesting time. Their only issue is that they've got to just ride out this season. This season hasn't been great. Started off obviously under Thomas Tuchel. It's moved on to Graham Potter. It hasn't been great under either of them so far, but it's all about the long-term project and all about the long-term future with this club, and it's all about the bigger picture. And if Chelsea fans and Chelsea as a whole can just ride out this season, it seems that obviously there's a light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, and it seems that it's only going to get better from here if you're Chelsea, at least on paper anyway, obviously you can throw as much money as you want at something. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be working out, as Chelsea have sort of found out within the past several years or so. But it does look promising. It does look good. And if obviously things do work out, then it's going to be very exciting times ahead for Chelsea. And obviously Enzo Fernandez looks set to be a massive part of that. He's really burst onto the scene this past year or so. Obviously came through the ranks at River Plate, moved to Benfica, and then since then burst properly onto the European scene. Benfica known for their scouting, known for their recruitment as well, and known for bringing up youth and everything else in between. Again, another Portuguese-based signing, this one, in terms of obviously the club he's come from, Benfica. Premier League clubs seemingly trusting the Portuguese league more and more when it comes to their scouting, and obviously picking up Fernandez is the latest. We saw Tottenham already in this window pick up Pedro Porro as well. We saw Liverpool pick up the likes of Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz this past year or so, and obviously Manchester City have picked up the likes of Ruben Diaz and Ederson from that same division, whilst Manchester United have also picked up Bruno Fernandes. So it does seem more and more that the Premier League is trusting the Portuguese league to provide them talent and to provide them quality. And if those names I've just rattled off are anything to go by, then obviously this guy is going to be the next in line, the next breakout star from that division. Obviously made a name for himself with Benfica, like I say, but made an even bigger name for himself at the World Cup, on the world stage. Obviously the World Cup in Qatar, he is a world champion, he's a World Cup winner with Argentina, of course. Played very well in that tournament. I think he picked up the Young Player of the Year, or Young Player of the tournament award. He was fantastic throughout. He was standing out for Argentina. Obviously Messi takes the plaudits when it comes to the Argentines, but let's face it, he was very good nonetheless. He was pretty awesome in that tournament. And again, it's what got people more and more excited, especially as we were moving closer and closer to that January transfer window, and there were rumours flying around that a lot of clubs were interested. But Chelsea was the one that really stuck, and Chelsea was the one that really was heavily linked, and it did seem extremely likely, constantly and consistently, he would be moving to Chelsea. But of course Benfica didn't have to sell. With all the money they've been picking up from these players that I've rattled off, and more players obviously that obviously escaped my memory and I didn't mention, Benfica weren't in a position where they needed to sell, so they could afford to run down his contract a little bit, keep him maybe towards the end of the season and reevaluate things in the summer. And I think ideally, I think they would have probably preferred to have kept him, and obviously kept him until the summer. They might not have got they might have got a bit less of a fee for him. I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but you know, they picked up a lot of money for him nonetheless. They picked up a very good deal for a player that right now has got a lot of potential on his side, as well as a lot of current ability and current talent. Can continue to grow, and obviously is going to be a long-term fixture in this Chelsea side in terms of this big project that obviously Todd Boehly and Graham Potter are the heads of, and that they are building together. So it works out kind of in a good way for Benfica. I don't think they would have liked it to have dragged on this late, and they probably would have liked to have kept him, like I say. But of course, it's business, it's football business, it's business football. It is what it is. So Enzo Fernandez moves to Chelsea. What kind of player are Chelsea picking up? I mentioned it a little bit yesterday as to what Chelsea fans can kind of expect from this guy. He is a creative talent as well as an industrious midfielder. He's basically a complete midfielder. He's played 29 times for Benfica across his time there so far this season already. He's scored 4 goals and he's assisted 7 times. Definitely a talent for the present and the future. He scored one goal and assisted 5 times in the Portuguese league in 17 appearances this season. Great stuff, just great stuff from great potential to the records he's already displayed this season. Not records, but statistics that he's shown this season. A lot of potential there, but also when you look at his gameplay, he's confident with the ball at his feet. He's got great technical ability. He's a ball winner. Can win the ball up high, press very high. Can move the ball forward, turn defense into attack. Great transition, break the lines with obviously his dribbling ability and his movement and his positioning. Very intelligent midfielder, and also he's very creative as well. Very creative midfielder, and I think when you get that all-round sort of package as a midfielder, I think it's something that Chelsea fans have been crying out for a lot. You can always argue that there might be other options out there, maybe for cheaper deals, and obviously Chelsea have been linked with a few midfielders this January as well, like Declan Rice and Moises Caicedo instantly spring to mind. Different types of midfielders, I'd say, to what Enzo is, but you know, for this could be a missed opportunity. If you were to miss out on this guy, it could be seen as a missed opportunity. Someone else picks him up somewhere down the line, and then you start thinking about what could have been, what if kind of scenarios. And you know, like I say, this guy does seem to be the complete package in midfield, and this guy does seem to be a player that Chelsea fans have been crying out for in their midfield for a long, long time. There's been a real, I wouldn't say a lack of investment in that midfield over the past few years, but there's just a lack of excitement. I would say there's too many players that are similar, too many players that may have reached their peak at that club a long time ago and just weren't going to get better. You think of Jorginho, who left yesterday. He was probably one of them. And N'Golo Kante has ran himself so ragged these past few years that he seemingly ran himself into the ground. His fitness levels, if I was a Chelsea fan, would be looking at and be a bit concerned about going forward. Is he going to be able to cut it long term and all that kind of stuff? Fernandez is fresh, Fernandez is young, Fernandez has got a lot of potential and a lot of talent and a lot of ability already, but also, like I say, being with Graham Potter, being with probably better players around him, especially when they start building that team around him even more so, start getting more midfielders in and start rebuilding and resurrecting that midfield and resurrecting Chelsea as a whole, is going to be massive for the long-term gain of not just Fernandez himself, but also the club as a whole, and also to get fans excited and interested. As far as this season goes, like I say, Chelsea really only have, I'd say, the Champions League to look forward to. Like, top four, obviously we're only halfway through the season. Top four is still very much a possibility, because let's face it, anything can happen in terms of that. Title race, long way off. Top four, Chelsea could still get back into that race. A few wins here and a few teams dropping points above them, they could always get back into that race, but it does seem a bit of a long shot. Champions League is where it's at for them. That's where their priority should be lying, but I don't really see them winning it, in all honesty. But at the same time, now that they've got this guy in, now that they've brought in a few other players that are of interest, they can simply, like I say, ride out this season, but have a bit of optimism and a bit of excitement as well on that. And I think that's all they really wanted from this campaign after what has been a very difficult season for them, a very difficult campaign for them to watch. It's been quite underwhelming for them, but at least they've now got something to pin hope on, and they've got Todd Bowley and his millions and billions of money and everything to kind of look at and go, you know what, we can really build something special here, and that is exactly what he's looking and planning and seemingly trying to do. Enzo Fernandez, like I say, seems a massive part of that, and he's going to be an exciting player in my opinion. If I had to go on record and say it, I'm a bit jealous, obviously, that, you know, Liverpool just sat on their hands yesterday and did absolutely nothing. And I'll also say on record that I think he's going to be an exciting and interesting and very intriguing player to keep your eye on over the next few years, and I'm very jealous that Chelsea managed to pick him up. So, yeah, that's my thoughts, comments, obviously, as I always say, those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on Enzo Fernandez of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of Enzo Fernandez finally completing his move to Chelsea very late on last night? Very late drama in the transfer deadline day. That was the January of 2023. What are your own thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it? I'd love to read them all and love to know what you guys think on this particular topic down below in the comment section, because I'm sure it'll make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things always and very greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. I'll see you all again soon in another video.